right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. Boomstick! Boomstick! Primitive screwhead. Boomstick! Primitive screwhead. Boomstick! Listen up.
Welcome to Ash
versus
Evil Dead
versus
Bubba
versus
Catfish, the podcast, all things Ash
versus
Evil. Okay, let's do it. We don't need to go through the whole thing again. Anyway, we are back for season 3, and tonight we're going to be talking about episode 2 of season 3 called Booth 3. I love the title of it.
Episode 2, Booth 3.
Season 3.
Right.
Got it. And I am your main squeeze, Ash, as you will, of the podcast. My name is Catfish. You can always reach me on Twitter at CJGman67. And the Pablo to my Ash, and that is full of tats, is Bubba. Bubba, how are you today?
Catfish, I am so excited. Last week,
Yes.
we got to season 3, episode 1, family. You were way down.
I was very low. I was very low on that episode, and we haven't talked about this episode. Just a quick reminder, the reason why it's late is because I was working on the Oscars all week, which is always a very debilitating. I work about 80 hours in a week. The only real excitement that I had last night was that a mutual friend of ours was the person who swiped the stolen Oscar statue back. Frances McDormand had her statue stolen from the governor's ball, and it was a friend of ours who got it back.
Is this our friend Cesario?
That is our friend. I'm keeping all names out of it.
Man, why didn't you tell me? Now I'm frustrated.
He swiped it back. For some reason, he's not getting the credit for it. I don't know why they're keeping his name out of it, which is why I did not put his name in it. So maybe you should beep that out.
All right, sure.
However, this person was so out of it that after our friend swiped it back from him, he actually chased our friend to get it back.
Oh, whoa.
And that's how he got taken down and eventually taken away. So I'm over that now, and so we can now get it back to all things Ash versus Evil Dead. Now, I do want to thank one of our double L's.
Double L's?
Yeah, our loyal listeners.
Oh.
Our double F's.
Double F.
Fan followers.
Ah.
When you, Bubba, tweeted out on your Twitter page, and how would we reach you on Twitter?
Well, that's right. My name is Bubba. You can find me on Twitter at Fit and Trim.
I already said you were Bubba.
FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Love it. So you tweeted it out, and one of our loyal listeners, Tarika Powell at Caddy LaBelle, replied with an awesome GIF.
What did I say?
Well, I need to follow what you said. It's what's not important is what you said. Is you said we can't do it until later because I'm doing the Oscars. Always the blame goes on to me.
Yeah.
And she sent an awesome GIF of Ash saying, "Sounds like a lot of yapping, but not a lot of happening." So you know what? We love to get tweaked.
Oh yeah.
By GIFs of Ash because it's lovely. So that's a quick reminder for all of our loyal listeners. There's a few ways you can reach out to us, and that is you can hit me up at CJGman67 on Twitter. You can hit Bubba up at Fit and Trim on pretty much all social media apps.
Yeah, I need a Twitch account.
Yeah, you do. Let's Twitch this. As well, you can hit us up on our Facebook page. That's right. Yeah. We have an entire Facebook page for the entire realm of podcasts. And Bubba, in his infinite wisdom, has decided to call it the Double P Podcast Network. So you'd hit us up on Facebook.com, Double P, that's the word double, then the letter P, and then the word podcast. So you can leave comments there for us.
Oh, yeah.
We love to get feedback.
Please.
We do a case of the week in which we vote, and invariably I end up getting unfairly losing in that, as always.
Catfish, I say we read some of this feedback, but first, last week you were so tough. I need to know your ranking out of 10 for this episode.
All right, well, you know what? I'm going to give tonight's episode 6.5.
Whoa.
You know, I was going to give it the triple Bs, but everyone knows what the triple Bs are.
Yeah,
They're so tired of it.
Enough.
Right?
Something new.
Enough of the brutal baby births.
Right.
So I decided to give it 6.5 triple S's.
Triple S's?
Yeah, slippery semen shots.
Oh, no.
Out of 10. While I did enjoy some of the fun, that fun fight at the donation center.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some crazy stuff you haven't seen before. The hand coming out of the magazine, I thought was brilliant. The, stop objectifying me, I thought that was beautiful. And also, there were some great lines from Ash and others this week that I loved. I still am having problems with a lot of particular things, and I wonder if it's just because I'm not feeling it that you start to notice things that don't make sense, that seem shoehorned in, that I feel are awkward, that otherwise I would say, whatever. But I'm still not quite feeling it this season. I'll go into it later. So forget what I have to say because everybody thought I was completely wrong last week.
Oh, wait, sorry.
And that's fine. Listen, since you're more in tune with our listeners, let's have it. Bubba, what did you give tonight's episode, Booth 3? What did you give it?
It's season 3.
Yeah, right. I remember that.
Plus episode 2.
Okay, that's...
Plus,
we're adding.
Plus Booth 3.
Okay.
So I gave it...
That's 8. Sorry, that's the subtotal 8. Okay,
So I gave it 9 triple S's out of 10.
You also gave it 9 slippery semen shots.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think you've forgotten.
I thought that was the
you've forgotten that what
the other triple S,
the real triple S.
Okay. Oh, sorry. That once again, I'm diminished.
Listen, you go to Urban Dictionary and say I don't want a triple S, and they'll say that means you don't want to spank semen squirm.
Okay. Well, all right. Well,
there go the listeners.
I do remember. It's nice that we were able to agree on the second word of the triple S.
So Catfish. I only gave last week 7 out of 10. I'm going up 9 to 10. 9 out of 10 for this episode. I think it's one of the best episodes they've ever done. I think it is in some ways Ash Williams' luck that he would put out one of the best episodes ever opposite the Oscars, where people are probably discovering it later on. This was fun. This was my keyword, Gonzo, baby. I loved it. I didn't go to 10 because I didn't think the ending was, the little end note was as strong. But to me, if these 2 episodes had aired as like a 1-hour season premiere rather than that, what I admit was kind of a bit of a down season 3 premiere, I'd be ready. I'd be like, giddy up, let's go. This was really, really fun. All right,
so this is strange because we are out of sync on this show.
Oh yeah,
and I'm out of sync with everybody. Listeners may not be aware, even longtime listeners may not be aware that Bubba likes to give me a really hard time and extol his superiority of knowledge and opinion over mine. Yeah. And so you might be surprised to hear that after I gave it such a poor review, he started sending me texts with all the great reviews that other people gave it. But you know what? Those people don't matter.
No.
Who matters is our loyal listeners. Oh, yeah. So, Bubba, why don't you read a whole bunch of loyal listeners agreeing with you and telling me that I'm just out of my mind. Let's hear it.
Well, because of the Academy Awards last night, we still don't have much feedback on last night's episode. The great, wonderful at Barbasue, a.k.a. the Aria of Susan's on Twitter.
Love Barbasue, yes.
I asked her for feedback on this episode, and she said, messy, slippery, slimy, and messy. The evil baby will be interesting. Kelly Pablito and the Night should have a spin-off series. So that sounds like she's down with it.
I agree.
Now, Catfish, let's go to last week, that episode that you weren't so fond of. On our Facebook page, facebook.com/Double P Podcast, that's podcasts, plural, our good buddy DJ Tim Hines, he gave us this feedback. It was just more assholes. And so I don't know.
Was he talking about us?
Yeah. That is the question. Either us or he wants Ash to go up more colons. I can't tell exactly what it was. Plus, we got a lot of great votes on last week's court case. And we'll get to...
I assume when you say great, you mean I lost again.
No. These are great. We got feedback from @TheUncleQ, @Patman23, @Caddy LaBelle. Great feedback we're going to read when we get to this week's court case. But Folks, we're mentioning this feedback right up front because, as you know, we are too lazy to go out and seek ads. We don't have a Patreon account. There's no way, in any way, we can get any money out of you. We want your feedback. We want to experience this great, fun show with you. That's the only reason why we're spending these dozens of dollars every month to create this podcast. And let me say, Catfish, have you ever listened to any other Ash versus Evil Dead podcasts?
I haven't. I like to keep my opinion separate from other people, except for the opinion I get from you that reminds me that I just don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, I went out and listened to some other podcasts. I listened to, if you go to iTunes.
How'd they do? Can we recommend some of those for the viewers?
Well, this was really weird. I went to iTunes and I searched Ash versus Evil Dead.
Got it.
And in the USA iTunes store, we're number 2. Number 1 is this thing called like Evil Deadcast. And I listened to it, and what was really weird is the hosts all seemed like they were nice guys and liked each other.
Huh. Well, I don't know. When you do something like that, it seems to miss the most important part of this podcast, which is the humor when we berate each other. How can you possibly generate excitement or drama without harassment?
Right, but those guys, they seem so nice that the only thing I could think is, we got to take them down. We got to be number 1. Listeners, we need you to go to iTunes. If you download this on iTunes, we still need reviews. Even if you've never done it, we still need iTunes reviews. That's very important. If you're getting this from Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, give us those reviews. If you download this podcast only once a week, listeners, not enough. We want you to download multiple times. These really nice guys who do a great job on the Evil Dead cast, we're going to take those nice guys. Those nice guys are going down.
Nice guys deserve to be, if not last, at least number 2.
Right. And once again, when you're on our Facebook page, like the Facebook page. Just talk to us there. Coming up on March 26th, we're going to be breaking down a new AMC show, The Terror, week by week. Our good buddy at Fat Monster, Matt Foster on Twitter, he asked us, hey, should I read the book before the show? It's great if you can because it's a great book, but you don't have to. We're going to be breaking down that AMC series, The Terror, coming up. It's going to be real fun.
Buy the book used if you can. That's all I'm going to say is that this is one of my favorite authors who completely went off the bend. And so buy it used. Don't give him any more money. Although I presume we're giving him a bunch of money by watching the show. But anyway, please give us your feedback.
Oh, yeah.
In the past, we've gotten some great feedback, even though...
Emails, yeah.
The emails. The emails are great. The only problem with the emails is that my good friend and compatriot Bubba used to, for years and years, I kidded him because he had a Prodigy email address, and he's dropped that now. So I think there might have been people who are sending us emails who are sending it, and it's not that we're ignoring it, it's just that it's going into the void. So do you want to give them an updated email address, Bubba?
Just go to the Double P podcast page and you'll find the email there. You'll also find it attached to this in the show notes, I think.
Oh, this is tricky. I like it. Listen, but Bubba's right. You don't have to listen to any irritating ads, although some people might think the ads are more entertaining than we are. But all we ask in return for potentially enjoying this podcast is for you to kind of pump us up a little bit. So with all that being said, let's move on to our first recurring bit.
Heck yeah.
And that is Ash's Groovy line of the week.
Oh, man.
Groovy. So, Bubba, I think there's one that stands out among every other.
Oh,
but
I want to hear your choice.
I wanted to hear yours because I didn't want to steal your choice.
I don't want to steal yours. You go. You go first.
No.
You go first. I got mine written right here.
I list 3. Okay. Well, for me, I'm gonna say my top one, and then I'm gonna let you do yours, and I'll do the other 2 just because I don't want to steal it. I take everything. I'm a taker, not a giver, just like Ash, my hero. My Groovy line of the week is when the Booty magazine Deadite says to Ash,
let's hear it,
I'm not finished yet. And he says, that's what they all say, baby.
Oh.
And I love it. It's one of those things that just all happens in the action. It's macho, and then it's just hilarious. So that's my number 1 line of the week. But again, this week I had 3 to pick from. So Bubba, what was your groovy line of the week?
It is tough. This Kelly line I love, or do I go with Ash? I think I'm going to say that Ash cares about his customers, so I'm going to go with that line where he said exactly, we got to get back and offer our customers hardware and sex toys at a reasonable prices. Not that reasonable. So good. Yes. Good. All right, let me hear some of your alternate ones.
I like that, too, because he said we can wail on evil and provide Elk Grove with top-quality hardware at a reasonable price. I also enjoyed the interaction he had with the woman who worked at the donation center when she said, how's your father? And he said, oh, he's still dead. And she says, too bad, he was a good man, produced a lovely semen.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, and we found out about,
He said TMI.
Yeah, syphilis. Oh, boy. I also liked just a short and sweet from Ash. New guy, take a knee. Always good. But I love Kelly's when he's talking about, well, when you're doing this, this, and this, you know what that's called? And Kelly goes, reckless endangerment. So fun. Such a good episode. I can't believe you're so low, 6.5. Oh.
I'll break it down for you later. I will break it down for you later. But before we break it down,
no breaking down yet.
People,
keep it in one piece right now.
People, it's like when you feed somebody something all the time, they come to expect it. We cannot go into the breakdown until we talk about our Deadite of the week.
Heck yeah.
So, Bubba, who is your Deadite of the week?
Well, I think we had some great people there at the sperm bank, including the magazine, which was so great, so fun, such a new spin. God.
Absolutely.
9 out of 10. Amen.
6.5.
But, Catfish, I'm going to go, I got to be honest, I'm going to go kind of off the board on this.
I'm not surprised since you did Sheriff Emery for about 20 of 22 episodes.
So,
even before Sheriff Emery was on the series.
Right, exactly. So, Catfish, last week I gave it to Ruby, even though she's not a Deadite.
Right, but you almost gave it to Sheriff Emery.
Right, in perpetuity. But this week, I'm going to switch it up and give it to Ruby. The fact that she had that triple B, birthing that bastard. Bastard baby.
Yeah.
She is evil. She is wicked. She, like me, doesn't like hitchhikers. So, just great. She's a demon maybe of the week and not a Deadite. She's just wonderful.
When she comes around the car and I love the effect of like her chest cavity exposed and she comes around. That was beautiful.
Defined beautiful, but yes, it was great.
I mean, yes.
So Ruby,
just beautiful.
Ruby,
no
qualifications. Do we even call her Ruby Noby? My non-Deadite of the week.
All right. Well, as usually happens on this, whenever I come up with anything good, you just swipe it away or dismiss it, and you pre-dismissed because my Deadite of the week is the Booty Magazine Deadite.
Oh no, great!
Because the first and they mixed it up because I thought when it came alive that it was going to come alive to distract him, but it just the hand came out right away, and I thought the CGI for it, I thought that effect was just beautifully seamlessly done.
Great.
And it was fabulous, and it's something again, I'm sure there are people who've watched a lot more horror movies than I have, but it's really, I just love that we have this TV show where you see like Ruby's exposed stomach, I guess, and you've got the magazine hand coming out, and these things are just, I think they're just top notch and they're delightful.
This episode, Catfish, 9 out of 10. This episode was so great, we all literally got a bit triple F.
Triple F?
Forgettable, full frontal.
Oh, yeah.
Full frontal, forgettable. Forgetfulness. Pablo.
How are we number 2? I don't understand it.
Pablo saw a full frontal female. And yet we forget about it.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
The episode had so much else going on. 9 out of 10. Thank you for agreeing with me.
6.5. All right. So now that we've done those two things, we can talk about the episode. You know what I'd like to do is, because I am so off with everybody on this. Yeah. Let me just say the couple problems that I have. And again, this is recognizing that if I was into the swing of things, there are things that I would probably dismiss or wouldn't bother me so much. But there's some things in here that just don't make sense to me. This is the one thing I do understand.
Let's go.
Coogie was so important they had to cancel all games. That was the one thing I understood. What I don't understand
now you've depressed me by reminding me of R.I.P. Coog.
Poor old Coog.
Pour one out for Coog.
So Ruby has been there's a time problem here that I don't understand. Again, these are small things. So Ruby's been counselor for a while, long enough so that she's gone to Ruby for a while. But Ruby didn't seem to have an ulterior motive in the counseling because it doesn't seem to me that she actually recognized that this was Ash's daughter until she said it. So that part I didn't understand.
Maybe
the fact that
hold on.
No, let me just go through them. The fact that Ash has been donating a lot of sperm. I guess he's done a lot of work in the whatever time since he's been back. That's a really small thing. But here's a big thing. Here's a big thing. This is my last thing. Ash is a hero now, so everybody understands what he did. So the daughter is aware of Ashy Slashy, but she isn't aware of how the sister died. It seems to me that's part of the legend of Ashy Slashy. So they're sort of putting her in a position where, it's going to be hard to get to know Dad because, a revelation, she killed his sister. When to me it should be everyone knows that. That's the Ashy Slashy legend, that he killed his sister. It's not going to be like, he's Ashy Slashy, and then, what? He killed his sister? And that goes, by the way, to set aside the things that happen every year that never seem to pay off. Last year is Kelly going to kind of come into her own and go apart from Ash? And they're trying to set up something with Pablo this year, like, is he a danger? Is Kelly going to go against him? And I don't think that'll ever get paid off, but that doesn't bother me as much as those other things. So now just tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, well, first, here's a mirror. So stare at that for a long time. Okay. See the wrongness.
In my shame. I'm looking at my hand.
No. But you were saying, well, why is evil Ruby a high school guidance counselor if she doesn't realize until the end that her arch enemy, Ash, has a daughter at this high school?
Right.
It makes no sense, but I think it makes perfect sense. She knows she's going to get pregnant, and so she knows one of the hardest things is to get your kid into a good school. So she was preemptively getting a job at the high school so she could get this little devil baby in there.
You know what? That makes perfect sense to me, and I don't know why I promise.
Thank you.
Okay, so all right. So now you're right. You should have just knocked those things down one by one. All right. So what about the Ashy Slashy thing? The whole.
Okay, kids. Let me tell you what's wrong with these kids today.
Well, yeah, you work with kids. Tell me.
Kids.
So, what are wrong with them today?
One thing kids don't know, they don't know nothing unless it's in their Snapchat feed. And, as a millennial, that's why I'm on Snapchat. Gotta let the kids know about the podcast.
Right, so the Ashy Slashy part was in the Snapchat.
No.
But not the other part.
No. Yeah, exactly. They know the legend, they don't know the facts. And the legend is this guy fought demons. Not that this guy, killed his sister.
No. But before the legend was that he fought demons, he was called Ashy Slashy because he killed all those people, including his sister. He recently became a legend before he was like brutal.
These kids were just
murderer.
wearing a T-shirt in episode 1. They were wearing a Def Leppard T-shirt. Do you think either of them know that Ash slashed off that drummer's arm?
Oh my God!
They don't know that because they're young. Who cares about the past?
All right. So obviously, like I said, since I'm sort of in that mode, I may be a little picky. But clearly, you spent a lot of time thinking about this and have rebutted my problems with this. But since you were the one who kind of had an issue with, what are they trying to do with Kelly last year? Are you happy with what they're trying to do with Pablo? Do you think this is going to lead somewhere?
Let's get to it as we go through the episode.
Okay, all right.
Because even within the episode, I think some answers reveal themselves. Kind of like me at the Ross Dress for Less. So
those nice guys are going down.
All right. So it opens up with
it sure does.
Is Ruby trying to drive to a hospital? Where is she going? She knows this baby's coming out, and you just think, is this baby going to come out the natural way? You see her belly.
Well, didn't she know what was going to happen? It's kind of not a smart idea to go, okay, I'm going to preg myself with this fast baby, and then, oh crap, I got to get in a car. I got to go to a drive-through.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, when she gets out of the car, that's one of the worst C-sections I've ever seen. And so there are these people hitchhiking on a rainy, crazy night. That really seems ridiculous. But here's one of the first things I wondered about. These two kids are trying to help.
These two crazy kids.
These two kids, these two hitchhikers are trying to help Ruby. Does Ruby not want her own, like, Renfield, her own henchman? You would think one of these two you could possibly convert or turn. But no, it's just they're all just body fodder for this demon baby that came out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she had her original children, and they turned against her. I guess she's hoping things are going to be different here. Well, actually, this is not the Ruby who had the children turn against her. So she's like, I've got a different plan, and now we know what that plan is. We can talk about that later. But this is what I'm hoping proves true in real life. What Ruby knows is that nice guys finish at least second.
Well, these hitchhikers, they're trying to help her. They come in, and once he's following that umbilical cord, oh, my God, this is trouble.
I did have one of those moments.
This is a creepy, scary moment.
Don't open the back door, for God's sakes.
This is one of those creepy, scary moments, and the show does it so well. And as silly as I thought, well, maybe she could convert these guys because they're trying to help her. But no, she gives him the second week in a row. Somebody's head is getting bashed in, not ashed in, but bashed in to get us to the opening credits. And let's just follow this Ruby story because that baby is one creepy / typical looking baby. I mean, he's got sharp, pointy teeth.
Yeah.
So good.
It's nice to see that he's already developed his teeth. I didn't know what was going on here. It was so crazy. I was like, oh my God, is Ruby dead?
Right.
And then I thought, okay, so then why is she cutting the umbilical cord? Because, it felt like the baby was feeding her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
great
so, but I love this whole thing. I mean, just, the bond between a mother and a demon baby is so strong.
Right. I would say, once again, we follow Ruby's storyline because she's a bit of a helicopter parent because it looks like she put this a hitchhiker through a helicopter and comes sliced up into pieces. And do you like the fact that she has kidnapped these hitchhikers? Obviously, one is slit up into pieces. We kind of
I was surprised about that.
We need Ruby to kind of explain some exposition, so they're keeping this woman alive, chained to a sink.
Exactly.
But I loved it. I thought it was creepy. It was scary. You would hope.
And Ruby had a good line, too, about the leg.
Well, I can't remember. What was that great line?
Well, it was something like, he'll just take a leg.
Now, we've already seen Ruby at the school in her guidance counselor guise, but I really just think that...
Are you sure we saw it, or do we see it as a preview? I think this is the first time we see her because...
No, I mean, but by the time we get to the hotel room where she has the chopped up people.
Yeah.
This creepy state of this poor female hitchhiker being trapped there for a couple of days, I think that's great. I think it's powerful. I think it's kind of a great through line that you can have for a couple episodes, tying episodes together. Is this hitchhiker going to be saved in some way? Can this hitchhiker be saved in any way, or is she doomed?
I would say she's just going to be alive until baby runs out of hitchhiker A. I don't think she's going to be saved.
I don't think she's going to be saved, but I think it's a great through line. Once again, Ruby isn't dealing with any characters who she can talk to and explain her evil plans to. So
right.
The fact that she can kind of monologue this poor victim, I think, is a great storytelling device.
And so this is what we talked about. I talked about last week as sort of the through lines of the season. Mm-hmm. So here we are in episode 2. And now we have it. Now we'll see if it changes. In past seasons, we seemed like we've had a goal, and then it's changed. So now we know the goal. Ruby needs to get rid of all of Ash's offspring and potential offspring, and they sort of set that up a little bit earlier in the episode, which I didn't think they were trying to pay something off. I thought they were just trying to make him nervous, but setting up the possibility. All of a sudden, we learned that not only has he had a lot of probably casual drunken sex with the same condom over and over again, but somehow he's decided to donate his sperm, and there's some donation center that has happily accepted it.
And do you like the idea that this demon spawn is in some ways Ash, another child of Ash? So we now have 2 children of Ash this season. I kind of love that. I think that's a fun twist. I see the sibling rivalry coming up.
I mean, I guess I don't know how you can say, okay, I'm going to create this other Ash, and then when the real Ash dies, this one will then become the one who is prophesied. It seems like that's kind of cheating. but at least I know what Ruby's plan is now.
Yeah, love it.
So we've got it set for this year. Now you would think that the easiest person for her to kill, because she could have done it right there in the office.
Right. So many times you could kill her.
Was Sandy, Candy, Brandy, Mandy.
I think brandy is the correct drink.
So why she doesn't do that is interesting. I mean, that's going to be the setup here. If she needs to kill all of his offspring, why not just start with the one that is right there?
Well, what if she has to kill them all alphabetically? So Ash first, then Brandy. Candy's dead. Okay. All right, ruin that. But yeah, makes no sense that she just doesn't kill her right then and there when she had her. Except the one thing we know about all these evil people, they also like psychological torture. And so a quick death isn't going to torture Ash any too much, or even Brandy.
Right. Or it's the Joker Batman scenario. I'm going to this horrible thing is going to happen to you. I'm going to monologue you to death, and I'm going to leave before it's finalized.
Love it. Now let's get back with the main story beat in this. Brandy wakes up and she's in good old Brock Williams' house, up in the room.
It's not creepy at all. I just want to say that. The room is not creepy at all.
Not creepy at all. I think while 2 episodes in, I don't feel like we've had a great establishment of what Brandy's character is. I'm going to even like this idea more because now we have this demon Ash son.
I think this is another thing that I don't like, and I talked about kind of her as a victim last week. We know who Pablo is. We like Pablo. He's goofy, but he's heroic. We love Kelly. She's just a badass. And
we know who Ash
Brandy
is.
just seems like a victim, and I don't like her. I know I should be sympathetic. She just lost her mother, but I just don't like her.
She's very vanilla. She's very basic.
Yeah, basic. And I understand. I should feel more for her, but we've been desensitized by this show. People who die and become deadites who aren't really a part of the show, we don't really think of them fully as human because that would be really horrible because then we would be suffering through a lot of trauma. So basically, we don't really think of Candy as a real person, and so I feel less sympathetic with Brandy when she's going through it. I just want her to suck it up and be an interesting person.
Right. Well, how about this? How about the humor they're trying to establish with Ash trying to be a dad and just epically failing?
I like what they're doing. They're trying to stay consistent with his character, but it just doesn't seem to. Again, there's sort of a disconnect. It feels to me I can't fully enjoy it because she's a person who's suffering a lot. It's not the same experience that we had with Kelly and her mother already. It just feels like a different experience, and I just don't. This is the kind of thing that this is kind of the start of the episode, and so it gets me in a mode where I'm not enjoying it as much.
To me, you feel a bit like Pablo. You're jealous. You're hating. In Pablo, he doesn't like this new guy at all. He's a double D.
Double D?
Dalton Disser.
Dalton Disser. Well, Dalton is a double P.
Double P?
Yeah, Pablo put downer.
Oh, man.
These guys just don't like each other, and it makes me suspicious of Dalton. I don't know whether there's really a Night to Sumerian or Dalton's just sort of Ruby's backup plan. I wouldn't be surprised if Dalton is not who we think he is. You would have thought that maybe these people would have caught up with Ash earlier, but that's not why I suspect him. I suspect him just because I think that's the more interesting thing. Of course, he's just going to be around to provide another obstacle later on.
I think, Catfish, perhaps you don't like Dalton, mainly because, like you, he has a hard time keeping an accent. He kind of slides all over. You're like, wait, is he supposed to be Southern? Is he supposed to be from a different country? Wait, he's trying to be American? I'm not down.
Maybe I'm jealous of him because he reminds me more of you. He's just so dashing and strong. And again, you're right. It's just pure jealousy.
Thank you. And so did you like when he's telling the story, we got this DVD extra artwork that explains the backstory. I loved this. I loved this little animated section that told us about the Deathly Hallows right here in the show. I loved it.
I love the whole thing. And then we've got when I thought when he's describing the woman that he was describing Ruby, but then from the way she's described physically, she looks more like Pablo's secret lover that he finds in his bedroom later on.
Oh, that is a good call. You mean the forgetful full frontal lady?
Yeah, the forgetful full frontal lady who is fonder of piercings than I am.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe she was Ash's mom, and that's why he's the chosen one, because he had we haven't met Mama Ash.
I don't know. That's a little much. I don't want to think of Mama Ash that way. It's like thinking of Mary Magdalene that way. No. She's like a holy vessel, not something to be sexualized. How dare you, Bubba?
Listen, I'm always getting sexualized about the double M.
Double M? How are we not number one?
Number one. Let's take down those really nice guys. Did you like this little dream sequence when Ash imagines other kids out there? I loved that. I loved that little moment of him, pretending to get the door and then, being thrown back into his seat. I thought it was great. This show is having fun. It is Gonzo.
It is.
Let's go.
But I don't. It's like when you watch something and you get. It's like, for example, I went to see a fun movie the other night, that movie called Game Night. And a lot of fun, a lot of comedy. But of course you feel like then they've got to jam some like life lessons in there. And you're like, let's just pass it. I don't care to see any of Ash like getting to bond with his daughter. Every second that is worked on is a waste to me.
So in Game Night, you're saying they tried to squeeze in some we got to love each other, some life lesson. Here, Ash is trying to bond with his daughter as a life lesson, because I think that this podcast, I'm going to start bringing in some double L's.
Double L's?
Life lessons.
Oh, good. Thank God. Because I could use some of those.
So when I'm doing a podcast, I got to have a real can-dude attitude.
Well, you know what? There's nothing like a can-dude attitude. Speaking of can-dude, I said that every moment that he's trying is a waste. Yeah. However, it's not a waste when he's kind of describing to Brandy how she was conceived and how her mother gutted it out even though she was vomiting all over the place.
Right where you're sitting in this car, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of thing is funny to me.
So he drops Brandy off at the school. You see that all games have been canceled.
R.I.P. Coogie.
R.I.P. Coogie. And so Brandy, still a bit of a cipher as a character. She's going to go in, meet the guidance counselor.
Well, that was the only reason that's the only stated reason she gave to Ash. Like, I have to go to school because I have to go meet the guidance counselor. Like, I really need to bond with her. So, what you didn't consider when you were disabusing me of all my incorrect notions was that maybe Ruby wasn't doing it because she wanted to get her child into the school. Right. Maybe Ruby was doing it because she has this real sensitive side that she really needs to hide from everybody. So she's like, you know what? High school counselor, that's where I can really make a difference.
Or I can corrupt young souls into following me. And maybe that was her goal. Maybe her thought was, I love violence, and there's no place more violent in America than high schools. Yeah, topical.
I love it. It's another double L.
Double L.
Life lesson.
And that's why we had to stay great friends.
So, Brandy's still somewhat traumatized. And, as she was walking through the halls and we saw a random policeman, I thought, oh, who's going to be in charge now that Sheriff Emery's gone?
They won't let me forget him. The harder I try to pull away, they keep just dragging me back in.
Now, sadly,
the
on the next week on, they always kind of ruin things.
What do you mean?
Well, last week on, the next week on, we saw that Ruby was her guidance counselor. And this week on, next week on, they ruined, I hope you didn't watch it, I'm not going to completely spoil it, but they ruined a great return of another character that I thought I'd never see again. So it's very sad that why can't they kind of try to do it spoiler free, these things?
You got to
stop watching them.
Listen to me. They needed all the people who weren't watching the Academy Awards and weren't watching Walking Dead. They needed them.
And John Oliver.
They needed them to see what was coming. Gosh darn it, I love the fact that Ruby is so evil, and she's going to poison Ash's daughter against him. This will be the ultimate. How would you think of Ash's story right now? He's discovered he had a daughter. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like him, and suddenly she's going to believe he's a killer. Oh, that's going to be great. Incredible.
Right. I would have never suspected my father, Ashy Slashy, was a killer. Just doesn't seem right.
If you agree with me that Catfish is wrong, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Double P Podcast. I want to hear about it. So, Catfish, I've been talking about this Triple F, Forgetful Full Frontal, for so long. I gave it 9 out of 10. This part I tend to forget. What do you think is the message we're supposed to get from this? That this is that creature that we heard about in the story, that this woman is the evil demon from the past that the Knights of Sumeria are trying to, defeat?
It could be something completely different, but I feel like that's kind of what's being introduced here. They are bringing in a lot of new things in this season. Mm-hmm. We got the daughter. We got the
Knights of Sumeria having a presence here. I thought the mask she was wearing was super creepy.
Yeah.
This is effective. This is setting things up. Now, you're right. This show has a history of occasionally not paying off stuff it sets up. But this was fun. This was creepy. This was forgetful, full frontal. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it was. This part I enjoyed.
When the mask comes up and it brings this sheet with it, and it seems like it then converts into whatever this demon was. Loved it.
The only thing I didn't like right away was I feel like they've gone through so much, mm-hmm. and maybe it works from the point of view of later on in the episode we get a sense that Pablo and Kelly haven't been spending a lot of time together, but it feels like he might have said something to her right here. I saw something.
These guys, even if, yes, okay, he wants to totally get busy with Kelly, and I won't let him, she's mine, I think that this friendship they've developed over 2 seasons should have come to play. Pablo, his jealousy is hurting the ghost beaters.
Well, it's absolutely true.
But is there any way that she's wearing a mask because she's going to take off the mask later and reveal herself to be Kelly?
Shape-shifting Kelly. Or Kelligos.
Yay, Kelligos is back.
Hey, listen, other people have come back. More people are coming back. So here's where we get the setup with, we see Damon didn't know. Damon Dalton.
Dalton didn't know about these markings on Pablo's. And so Dalton is saying, Kelly, I know he's your friend. I know you have a soft spot for him. He could be the downfall and get us all killed, right?
Absolutely. And so, like I said, that kind of sets up the could Pablo go bad? I mean, we've seen, we've seen almost who haven't we seen occasionally go bad on this show? I mean, we've had Kelly go Kelligos, Pablo's had issues, but that's mostly when he wasn't Pablo.
Has Ash on the show, forget the movies, has Ash on the show ever had a touch of evil in him?
He did have a touch. He had the touch of evil when he had to take his hand back off again.
Right. Okay. So,
but other than that, he hasn't really gone full bad. What's curious here, though, is I feel like they're playing with a dynamic, but not fully playing with the dynamic of the sort of like the sexual thing here. I mean, Ash is allowed to be sexual, but as far as the rest of them, they kind of dance. They've danced around the Kelly Pablo thing for a while. We still don't know where Douglas
Dalton
has how he ended up hooking up with Kelly.
Don't say it like
her.
That. They haven't.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Completely wrong.
This grief and this kind of, I almost want to call it, and slap me for using this word.
Oh my God!
Realistic emotions.
Right.
Brandy is relatively dealing with grief. Pablo's kind of realistic jealous feelings, if they're still kind of filtered through his comedic silliness. I think it gives the stakes that I was talking about last week that the show needs. And so, once again, I really, really liked it. It provided kind of a weight and a great counterbalance for the Gonzo fight that's about to come up that I love so much.
Everybody agrees with you. I agree that everyone agrees with you, and you're with the masses.
All right, so Ash goes to his place.
Oh,
You have to love this.
I love it. It's the centerpiece of the show.
20% off, make it 30% off. I mean, this is great.
Done. The only thing that I wish about this scene is that it had gone on a little bit longer. The fight scene.
You're right. This thing could keep going. I love the fact that when all hell breaks loose, they start playing Take On Me, because the woman coming out of the magazine is a bit like the infamous video that the band Aha did for their song Take On Me. So good, so fun. I have to be honest, I really liked these actors who worked at the sperm bank. So kind of like everybody who dies on the show, I'm kind of, if they're a fun character and they've got a fun bit about them, I like it. So Marcy here, who demanded that, no, make it 30% off, and then I'll tell you who's had your sperm. I loved that bit of fun, and the fact that we lost Marcy, who's just a one-off bit of silliness, I missed it. And this is the show at its best.
And I thought the makeup they did on Mrs. Lamb was amazing. I thought that was really nice.
She really turned evil.
You know what's funny is this is just sort of a kind of a subtextual thing. Is I wonder if they made this decision that people could handle one thing but not another thing. Last season.
Oh, yeah.
Ash was covered, got on his face, got everywhere, with fecal matter.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
But they played with it here.
That's where it came out of the
butt. Some point, they decided, okay, fecal matter on his face, audiences could live with. But semen, I don't think they can. So they went up to the edge, but it never really got on his face.
I appreciated that. I'm not the kind of gross out fan. I don't need to see that. I just need the energy to be up for the fights to be lively and gonzo and silly. And this,
it was great. The semen shots, it was so good. And sliding around on the floor, it was just super fun.
Now, I do have to say, if I was taking this serious at all, anytime the lights start to go out, and Ash is like, what, you haven't paid the electric bill? At a certain point, Ash, for the God's sake.
No, he's just dim.
Oh, my
gosh. It's okay. He is the first truly Zen warrior.
Oh,
he takes things as they come.
Oh, my Lord.
If it's maybe it's lights out, but so he'll deal with it, but then when it becomes something completely different, he'll deal with it then. Look, he lives life as it comes. That's what I'm most jealous about.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. What I just said.
It's fine. No one.
Double entendre.
No one understood.
Okay.
All right. So we have this great fight, wonderful fight, 9 out of 10 fight. The magazine comes.
Oh, I give the fight. Yes, I'd only give it a 9 fight because it could have lasted a little longer. But I loved it. I love when Mrs. Lamb got her face just completely smashed. It was completely fun.
Was fun. Ash comes out, and then we have this.
Well, wait, before he comes out, now we have to have the important thing is we realize when Kelly comes up to Pablo and she sees the Pablitos fish and chips and she said dreams do really come true. That's when it first hit me. My God, they really have not been hanging out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise she'd know about Pablitos fish and chips.
And that explains a bit of Pablo's anger at, oh, come on.
Right.
Why'd you just desert us?
He could have just gone to her bar. Now, she does make a good point that when Ash is not fighting, he's a little tough to take.
Right. But at the same time, she admitted she kind of missed him, and he's fun.
Yeah, well, there's never a dull moment. I guess you could say that.
Ash pulls up. He's got this bizarre stain right on his crotch where the evil hand out of the magazine had been grabbing him.
Yeah, Booty Magazine deadite. Ooh, I mean, that got really close.
Right. But the Ghost Beaters, they are coming back. They are kind of have a new fight to deal with, and it's not just fighting deadites, which could get monotonous. Okay, fight a deadite, do it. Fight a deadite, do it. But the fact that Ash has a new purpose, he's going to protect this girl, whatever her name is, that's his daughter, gives the show a focus. I love it. So good.
Yeah, that was super funny. And I also loved Kelly's reaction. This is kind of funny stuff when he's like, I'm not going to let them take away. I mean, my daughter, but also not my balls. She's like, okay, yeah, we got it. And she gives this great look.
Yeah.
Super fun. It's good to have them back together. They separated them so they could bring them back together, but we need them all.
Okay, so that's this week.
6.5. I might bring it up to a 7.
All right.
Still some lingering.
Oh.
I honestly, every time I see Sandy, Brandy, Candy, Mandy, I'm just not feeling it, and that's obviously going to be the main thrust of this season. So,
well, I think before we get to our court case, it's time for our other new segment, which you sing the theme song for. Writer Bubba Gives Notes.
Bubba gives notes. He gives those notes. Those notes would make the show better. Why don't you give Bubba lots of money to make the show better?
We gotta workshop that song some more. So last week,
I don't know. I like that.
I mean, it's like I'm sitting next to Fergie in the national anthem. It's so good. So
that would have been like Bubba's notes. They make the show good.
So when I sold my screenplay, which got made into a terrible movie.
I think I've heard that before.
But when I sold that script, which got made into a terrible film, let's be honest, I was trying to do something like this. You look at that film up on IMDb, I was trying to have some fun in a horror setting. Add some fun, add some real laughs and some silly laughs into a setting of horror. But after, this is now episode 22 so far. At a certain point, if it is just the Three Stooges, why do we keep coming back? At a certain point, they quit making Three Stooges, Little Rascal shorts, because it's just repeating. You need that backbone of a story. How is this season going to get you back, Catfish, because you're feeling a little off? It's going to get you back by having this backbone, which season 1 didn't pay off as well. Season 2, the backbone, we talked about is, Kelly, you got to go on your own. This show has a backbone. And so as Writer Bubba, the biggest note I have to say is, what is going to get you back in the show?
Tell me.
They're going to kill Brandy. That's the point of it. In other words, Brandy was introduced to be killed. Writer Bubba is calling it now.
I agree. I'm happy.
The fact that they have, sorry to cut you off,
Go ahead.
The fact they have this other child is there specifically so that there can be the battle where the other child kills Brandy. Now they have got it set up where there could be other kids out there. You could find out, maybe that's a season cliffhanger. Oh wait, the real true spawn of Ash is blank. But they've introduced Brandy to kill her. And you would say, well, can't they make her a fun character so it'll really break my heart that she's gonna get got? I say that by keeping her in that, in quotes word, realistic, we're gonna see that she is gonna go through. And now here's my Writer Bubba's way to kill her. You're gonna have her bond with her father, and then she's gonna start to bleed from her nose and mouth. And she'll die on the ship back to King's Landing. Oh, wait, no, that's how they killed Marcella. Oh, Game of Thrones spoiler there. No, I think that they are obviously going to have to ride the wave of hate Ash, hate Ash, hate Ash. She starts killing Deadites. They grow to love each other. She reveals, hey, I didn't like you at all, but now I love you. Now I'm going to fight for you. And when she dies, that's what's going to give Ash the anger and power. That's what's going to release this chosen one, which we have heard about for so long. When is he really going to be doing something special like a chosen one would? That kind of anger and anguish and almost kind of light that he's going to get from having a love of a daughter. It's going to push him over the edge. You're going to love that. That is going to be the spine of the season. Writer Bubba's Notes.
Because I don't know whether that would keep him to be the same character that we've grown to love. He's still got to be a jackass. Also, I mean, that's kind of what I'm afraid of, is that they're going to go through this whole thing. We know she's going to go. They were going to go through this whole thing, and I just almost wish that they do it the way they did it with Brock, and that is, please, God, just get rid of her like episode 4.
Oh, no. They got rid of Brock way too quick.
They did.
He didn't fulfill any of the promise that he had.
I agree. And I I would hope they'd learn their lesson, but only if there was a character that I liked more. So I don't want to go through the whole thing here and go through this whole process. I just don't want to go through it. All right. Well, anyway,
Get on the train.
You can let us know on the Double P Podcast Facebook page if you agree with Bubba and Bubba's Notes, making your show better. Pay Bubba, make him executive producer. All right. So the last thing that we do every week is our court case. That's right. We have to do a court case because this show isn't called Ash
versus
Evil Dead
versus
Bubba
versus
Catfish for nothing. The Bubba versus Catfish is our court case of the week. And
so
this week,
Catfish, before we get to this week's case, let's read some of the feedback we got from our double L's.
Loyal listeners?
You remembered.
I did.
And so how did they vote on last week's case?
All right, so we'll count them up as we go. One of our longtime loyal listeners, Uncle Q at the Uncle Q, says, I'm voting for Catfish in this week's case, but some fine flattery might reverse that decision. Overall, happy to have the show back, but definitely see Catfish's worries. Hashtag make Deadites, not daughters. I love it.
Great.
I love it. All right.
At the Uncle Q on Twitter. Love it.
All right. Patman23 at Patman23. Well, now he's Pat I Alone Survived to Tell the Tale. Spinagle. At Patman23 says, although I often side with Catfish, which is appropriate, in these Bubba versus Catfish, due to the biases he faces in the court, I'm going to turn to Bubba's side this time.
All right. Correct answer.
Oh, my God. And Tarika at Caddy LaBelle, who provided the great feedback to the delay of the podcast, said, while prosecutor Catfish proved his argument beyond a reasonable doubt, clearly this week's winner was stenographer Gladys.
Wait, what?
D.A. Bubba lost the jury's goodwill for not massaging our feet as well. Hashtag babes in danger. All right, so that's
111.
111. Got it. However, Patman23 did add, the Fair Trial Commission might have to investigate allegations of jury tampering, hashtag foot massage, hashtag alert bailiff Rusty.
Wait.
And he should have added hashtag me too.
No,
all right.
no.
And then Tarika at Kay LaBelle replied, Patman, I remember the riveting backstory on the judge and previously brilliant Rusty. Time travel, twins. If Gladys also sits on the family tree, that foot massage just got a whole lot creepier.
Hey, now.
Catfish, you're going to have to take this to the appellate court due to bias.
Hey.
It's absolutely true. So I'm going to take that as I'm going to take
111. It's a tie.
No. I won the case. So
What? No,
it's
no, no,
a half
no.
for Gladys, a half, one for you, and 1.5 for me.
What? No, what about... Okay, this is... Oh
No,
my God.
listen.
Oh, my God, you can't even count.
Yes, I can, because Tarika said Catfish proved his argument beyond a reasonable doubt.
But then she later says that she
That's a half
no,
point
no.
each.
She
So I
says
won
Gladys
1.5.
won the case.
She says the winner
Oh,
was
my
Gladys,
God.
but Gladys didn't have an opinion.
No wonder we're number 2 in the podcast rankings. Oh, my God.
All right. So this week's court case is also based on tonight's episode.
Oh, great.
And that is, we saw that Ruby in this episode was a guidance counselor. Mm-hmm. And we thought, like when we had Pablito's Fish and Chips, and we thought, what would be other good combo businesses for Pablo to have? Tonight's court case is, what would be a better job for Ruby?
Oh, yeah.
In the non-Deadite world than guidance counselor.
Okay.
So that's our court case of the week.
Let's see how it does.
And that's it.
All rise. The case of what should Ruby's career be on Ash vs. Evil Dead is now in session. Entering the court now is prosecutor Catfish.
Dum dum, dum dum dum, dum dum, dum dum dum.
Entering next is defense attorney Bubba.
Dum dum, dum dum dum, dum dum, dum dum dum.
You, the jury, will decide who is correct. Bailiff Rusty, sign them in.
It's me, Bailiff Rusty. Here, put your hand on this. Bailiff Rusty, that's not the Bible. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Bailiff, enough of this silliness. Prosecutor Catfish, state your case.
Your Honor, in this case tonight, I have determined, beyond a reasonable doubt, which makes both me and Gladys a winner, Your Honor,
Okay.
that beyond a reasonable doubt, that the best civilian job for Ruby would be adoption specialist, Your Honor. She has a special connection with children. And you know, the important thing about being an adoption specialist, Your Honor, is sometimes these children, They come from broken homes. They may have not have all the advantages. So they've got issues, Your Honor. Some of them have anger issues. Some of them got them sticky fingers, Your Honor. You know, they haven't been brought up in happy households. So they're challenging children. Your Honor, I posit to you that nobody has more experience with challenging children than Ruby Noby. Your Honor, she knows what it's like to have a difficult childbirth. She knows what it's like to have children conspire against you, children that you loved and you cared for. And most of all, Your Honor, any children who may have physical limitations, Your Honor, she has dealt with children who, frankly, don't look like they should still be alive. Very gaunt, all blackened. Some of them with just really physical deformities, like really sharp and pointy, angry teeth. So, Your Honor, because she's been able to interact with all these children, I state to you that the best civilian job for Ruby Noby, adoption specialist.
That's it?
That's my case, Your Honor.
Does your case rest?
Yeah, I do rest, Your Honor. Whew, I could use a foot massage. I'm tired.
Stenographer Gladys. Bailiff Rusty, wake her up. It's me. Oh, Gladys, it's you. Gladys, wake. She's dead.
Oh, no. Your Honor, no.
What's going on?
Your Honor, what's going on? Your Honor, look right next to her. There's a bottle of poison. Strychnine. Well, the only people in the courtroom right now are me, defense attorney Bubba, prosecutor Catfish, bailiff. It's me, bailiff Rusty.
Oh, my God,
you're the killer.
Your Honor, he just confessed. Bailiff Rusty confessed.
Order.
It's me, Gladys Sugar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still alive.
Gladys, why did you have strychnine?
Well, it's a long story, Sugar, and I'm going to tell it over the next 8 weeks.
Oh, God. Oh, Your Honor, please. Can we get back to this case? I feel like this is a distraction to the case.
Your Honor, this is defense attorney Bubba, and I love that Gladys and her poison storyline is the backbone to our trials. It's provided us the spine of the story here in the courtroom for the rest of the season. But, Your Honor...
Your Honor, everyone appreciates a good murder mystery. but Gladys isn't dead yet.
Your Honor, listen.
I said yet,
Can I do my...
State your case, defense attorney Bubba.
Sweet Jesus, please.
Your Honor, Ruby now has blonde hair. The kind of blonde hair that makes me think of a certain type of server.
What do you mean, defense attorney Bubba?
Blonde servers. When you go out to eat, who has blonde hair? Servers at Denny's. Why do I say that? Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods loved blonde-haired servers at Denny's. But Ruby is not for Tiger Woods. Ruby's perfect job, Your Honor, would be working at Cracker Barrel. Your Honor, I'd like to point up to Exhibit A.
Why, defense attorney Bubba, you're showing us a scene from the beginning of this episode, Season 3, Episode 2, Booth 3. What do we see? Ruby her ribs have been cracked open. It's almost like she's Cracker Barrel of ribs. So why would Ruby be a great server, Your Honor? The first thing is, Your Honor, what do you get at Cracker Barrel? You get served. And Ruby has been serving the Ghost Beaters for the first 2 seasons. Ruby has literally... She has cracked the Ghost Beaters. Think what she'll do to Egg Beaters when she brings out your food.
Your Honor, let me just say this.
Yeah.
If I was even going to go anywhere down the fever dream that the defense attorney has done, I would say at least he should posit Tony Roma's, because we know the ribs are good at Tony Roma's.
Point for defense attorney Bubba. Good point, Catfish.
No way, Your Honor.
Your Honor, what is Ruby known for? Flipping sides. Just like you have to flip food over after it's been on the griddle for a bit. Just like at Cracker Barrel. What is Ruby known for good for? Potholes. Just like the potholes you'll find in the Cracker Barrel parking lot. Did I say potholes or did I mean plot holes? What is... Ruby, listen to me. Okay, so... Tiger Woods... Tiger Woods loves...
We're back to Tiger Woods.
He loves screwing blonde waitresses. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So the point is, you're right. Get to the point. Yes, Your Honor. The point is, Tiger Woods, they're the end. All right. Okay. Enough silliness. That has been one of the worst argued cases I've ever heard. People of the jury, you must now go to the Double P Podcast Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Double P Podcast. That's the word double, the single letter P, the word podcast, plural. Facebook.com/Double P Podcast. Or go to Twitter. Check out Catfish's at CJGman67's Twitter account or Bubba's at Fit and Trim Twitter account and tell us what job Ruby would be best for. Because I don't think we've had an answer yet. We want you to tell us what job Ruby would be better for than school guidance counselor. This case is thankfully dismissed.
Wow, that is a barn burner.
Man, I may get disbarred for that weak attempt.
All right, well, next week. Yeah, well, you know what? Again, there have been times before I thought I had it in the bag. You never know.
Never know.
You appeal to certain sensibilities. Maybe there was a magic word you said that could sway the jurors. You're very silver tongued when it comes to the jurors.
I tried.
So next week's episode is entitled "Apparently Dead."
Whoa!
And if you've seen any of the the preview like I have, you'll know that's a good play on words for next week's episode, which we will cover on Sunday night. There'll be no more delays for
no more.
Ash
versus
Evil Dead
versus
Bubba
versus
Catfish.
Groovy, baby.
Groovy.